And welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me for another one of my videos today. So today I really wanted to talk about something which has been a great big topic of discussion over on my Instagram. So I was like, let's bring it to the table over on YouTube. So I want to talk about rediscovering yourself through spiritual awakening and through healing as well, because I feel like in 2020 we've all met a new version of ourselves. We've all gone through so much change and transition and newness and so much. It's been a journey, right? We've gone through multiple versions of ourselves that a lot of the time we can then feel like, I don't know this version of myself. And then we have to rediscover that version of ourselves and that new version of ourselves. And I always remember watching this video years ago and way before I was spiritual about this husband saying how every year he meets a new version of his wife. And at the time I thought, gosh, this is so true. Like, I definitely feel we do transition and change in life, and especially in like a marriage, like you would meet new versions of your spouse, of your partner. So that video always stuck with me for some reason. And you know, through spiritual awakening nearly 5 years ago, geez, the time has flown. I think like every year, and you guys say it as well, you say like, oh my gosh, like when you look at your earlier videos compared to like these videos, like, you know, you can see the change and transition. And I think all of us along our spiritual journeys can say like every year we meet a new version of ourselves. I can definitely hold my hands up and say like every year I meet a new version of myself. And that's like quite scary, I guess, in some ways, but also good, because it allows me each year to meet a truer version of myself, meet a more aligned version of myself, meet a more happier version of myself. And at the moment I'm 27, so I'm in my 27th year, which is very, very known for the Saturn return starting from 27 to 30. So obviously that's why I feel, again, this is so potent. So if you're in that phase of your life as well, Saturn returns are really interesting to look at. It's when Saturn returns to the planet Saturn, returns to the place where it was at that person's birth, and it does this every 29.5 years. So obviously 27 to 30 is your first Saturn return, then you have one as you approach your 60s, and if you're lucky, as you approach your kind of late 80s, 90s as well. So some people can have 2, maybe 3 Saturn returns in their lifetime, depending on how long they bless this earth with. So yes, this is my first Saturn return, and it has been really an abundant year already, which a lot of people kind of said, you know, if you're spiritually awakened and you're doing the work, a Saturn return isn't always like dramatic or, you know, anything to worry about. It can be really abundant actually. And I do feel like it has been, even with inner work mixed in, of course. What I've noticed is that the question that I was asking myself, which made me so inspired to talk about this and hear other people's thoughts and make this video, was I've done some like really deep inner work recently, which I didn't even realize I needed to do. It just came up and I was like, whoa, hello. And did IEMT, which is one of my favorite cognitive practices to do. I do it with a person, I don't do it myself. So I've spoken about Cameron Betty and George Lizos, my amazing friends who are fantastic facilitators of this, and highly recommend them, as you guys know. So I did that recently, and the question that I asked myself is, who am I without this trauma? And it was a really interesting question, because I thought, whoa, like I know who I am, I know who my core values are, I know what I stand for, I know what my non-negotiables are, I know what I want in life. But from something that has, you know, been in my life for over 11 years, subconsciously, without me even knowing, it was like, whoa, who am I? Who is this version of me who doesn't have this trauma? Who is this version of me who doesn't have this limiting belief? And it reminded me so much of like when I spiritually awakened, of like, who am I now I'm spiritual? Who am I now I love myself? Who am I now I am choosing better in my life? So I think we all have these moments, and I definitely know I'm not the only one who's said this or questioned this during 2020, whether you've gone through a Saturn return, whether you've healed things, or maybe whether you're spiritually awakening. There are so many different, you know, experiences, opportunities where we will ask those questions. So for anybody who is in that stage, I wanted to create a video that can help you to rediscover yourself, can help you to find those answers and, you know, explore that new version of yourself, because it is exploration. At the end of the day, the easiest, simplest answer I can give you is exploration of trying things, going out, having fun. And one of my clients did this And I use her as an example because it is that proof of she is rediscovering herself past heartbreak. You know, for her to tell me this week that she was on dating apps and having fun and doing it for herself, not for an outcome, was proof that she is rediscovering herself. And it was amazing to hear because I just didn't expect that transformation where she was like, I'm on dating apps and I'm doing this. And I was like, whoa, like, go you. This is incredible. So, you know, because she'd built up that self-love and was rediscovering that version of herself, she was able to go and do something which she really wanted to do for her, not for an outcome, not to force a relationship, but just for her because she wanted to do that. And this is the most important thing. It's putting yourself in situations and circumstances which give you that growth, which allow you to explore your likes, your dislikes, what you want, what you don't want. The only way you're going to find that out is by learning, is by getting out into the world and exploring those things and saying, hey, who am I? Like, what do I really want to do? So ask yourself, like, what is one thing that you've always wanted to do that you have put off? Or like now in this phase that you're in, whether you've spiritually awakened, whether you've healed, whatever has gone on, maybe it's just 2020 and you're like, I'm this new person, who am I? What is one thing that really interests you or intrigues you to do now, here, now, and do it? Because it's all about following those breadcrumbs of sometimes we have like bright epiphany moments of this is who I am, this is what I want, and other times we don't. It's breadcrumbs. Sometimes it is following breadcrumbs and saying this feels good to me, this feels good to me, that doesn't feel good to me, so I'm not gonna, like, you know, I know what I don't want. And it's going through those learning experiences where we experience life and experience that new version of ourselves and almost lean in and soften into that version of ourselves through practice, through exploration, through discovering these things about ourselves. But it's an adventure. It's an adventure and it's a journey. It's not just I need to meet this new version of myself. Yes, you do need to meet the new version of yourself. But also it's about keeping yourself present and going along that journey, allowing the journey to be what it needs to be. Not saying like, I need to know all the answers now, because that's the masculine energy. It's saying like, I can go along this journey and rediscover this whilst knowing who I am, whilst knowing what my core values are, and they may change. Like, I definitely think who I was 5 years ago is completely changed to who I am now, and that was me spiritually awakened. So our desires, our wants, our likes, our dislikes can absolutely change and evolve. And one example I really want to bring to the table here is Kelly, one of my authors who I mentored last year. She actually commented on my Facebook post about this, and I loved what she put, because obviously this is I'm 27, do you know what I mean? Yes, I've got 5 years under my belt, but you know, there are people who have many more years of wisdom and who've gone through this a lot more than I have. You know, I'm obviously speaking from what I've experienced. So Kelly was saying, you know, like, she's 41, and she was saying that she still shocks herself even now. And Kelly has an amazing book. Her name's Kelly Bramlett, and you know, all about talking about rising from trauma, and rising from, you know, she's had an incredibly healing journey, way more than I have. And, you know, it was really interesting to see her perspective on this. And she said she still shocks herself now about who she is without her trauma, and still asks herself like, whoa, like, she has all these realizations and epiphanies of, I'm this person without this trauma, like. And you know, she's been on that recovery road for a while. It's not just like the last few years, it's been a while. So it was interesting to hear from her perspective how she feels even where she is now in her journey. And she said, you know, it is part of that death, rebirth and birth cycle which we go through, like the phoenix of, you know, going through the ashes, rising, and we are cyclic beings, and it's embracing these cycles as humans and knowing that we are going to continually meet new versions of ourselves, continually, whether it's every year or every other year. We're going to continually meet new versions of ourselves and discover new aspects of ourselves, learn new things, grow, expand, up level, whatever words you want to use here. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. And that it's like the learning never stops. The lessons never stop. It's not that it's going to be hard or it's going to be challenging, definitely not. But we're in the classroom of life. We're here to learn, we're here to experience, we're here to do that inner work, to up level and meet that truest version of ourselves, you know, our highest self as we grow and evolve. And it's choosing things that align to that higher versions of ourselves, not so we can just keep ascending and keep up leveling. It's not a competition, but in order to feel happy, in order to feel that peace and happiness that we want to feel. So as you go through these transitions, you still know who you are at the core. You know who you are at the core of your being and what you want. And maybe you don't know what it is you're here to do yet, or you don't know what your likes and dislikes are, or you are really at that beginning spiritual, like, of your spiritual awakening where you're like questioning everything. And that's a beautiful place to be in as well, because when you are that blank canvas as such, you are the author of your life, you're the artist of your life, you can create that. And it's through that journey, through that exploration, through that adventure, through exploring, that you discover all of these things. And that's the most basic, basic rule of it, is exploring and allowing your journey to unfold in the way that it's meant to. But it's also like that self-love, self-worth, self-love, self-confidence, rediscovery of self, because it's, saying to yourself, what have I tolerated so far? Like, what have I tolerated that I don't want to tolerate anymore? What has not felt good to me in life that I'm going to change now in my habits? So it's very much a journey of looking within. Going within is not really, although it is an outer experience of discovery and exploration, it's also an exploration of self, of going within and saying, okay, what do I want more than anything? What are my non-negotiables in life? And that's a great place to start, is asking yourself that question, and then saying, what have I tolerated, or what has not felt good to me in my previous career, relationships, whatever it is, whatever circumstance you're questioning or has led you to this new version of yourself. What did I not like before? What was I tolerating? What did not feel good to me? And that is a great place to start, because when you realize that maybe you tolerated things at work or let people say things to you or whatever it is, you can then say, right, how can I change that behavior? How can I change that? How can I heal that? How can I move past that? Is it a limiting belief? Is it something I need to do deep work on? Or is it an action that I need to take? Is it something I need to do within myself to show up in the best way possible, to manifest and attract better circumstances and a more aligned opportunities, manifestations towards my dreams? And don't think that this time is not a time for manifesting as well. When you're going through that inner rediscovery, it's an exciting time. It's that new beginning, that door opening to that new chapter of your life where you're like, hey, this is the new me, this is this new version of myself. This is cool because I get to create this. So you are the co-creator, you are the artist of your life, you're the author of your life. So now more than ever is the time to manifest, is to sow those seeds, set those intentions with the universe and say, hey, this feels good to me. This is what I would like. Like, once you've realized what it is you don't want to do anymore or don't want in your life, you can then plant the seeds and sow the seeds and say, hey, whilst I'm discovering all of this, this feels good to me. And it's taking it moment by moment, day by day, of saying, today, this feels good to me. Today, this is what I feel called to do. Today, this is what I would like to manifest. So take it day by day. You don't need to see the whole path yet. That's not, I don't think we ever see the whole path. Even 5 years old or 10 years old, I'm sure I'll say the same thing. You don't always see the whole path. But you can take it at those breadcrumbs, like I said, step by step, day by day, cultivating this new version of yourself, learning and rediscovering this new version of yourself by being in that feminine energy of allowing and receiving, but also exploring, because that's that masculine energy of taking action, exploring, showing up in the best way possible. So showing up for yourself, in a daily practice, having and cultivating a beautiful daily practice, whether it's gratitude, whether it's yoga, whether it's meditating, whether it's a walk in nature, little things like this is that self-love for you. So the more that you work on your self-love and your self-care and show up for yourself, you're going to have the best opportunity to meet that new version of yourself. You're going to have the best opportunity to discover what sets your soul alight, what fuels your fire, what feels good, what feels like when you feel the most alive, what you do want in life, what you don't want in life. And it's okay to change that at any point. If your manifestations don't align with you anymore, it's okay to change them too. And this is why I really want to tie it into 2020, because 2020 has been a vibe, a theme, and a very expansive journey for all of us. And we have all met new versions of ourselves. I look back to who I was in January, I'm like, who was that? Who was that? I look back to who I was in March. Who was that now? I look back to the version of myself in the summer, just before my 27th birthday. I feel more connected to her because obviously that was only a few months ago. But I'm still like, whoa, like even that transition is massive, going through that 27th year portal as such. And I'm sure every single person watching can be like, yep, feel this, relate to this, resonate with this, Emma. So with that, you're gonna have some of these questions of, but who am I without that thing? Or who am I without that trauma? Who am I without, or who am I in general? You might just be like, who am I in general? That kind of Zoolander moment of like, who am I? And this is the most exciting time to peer into that water, as Zoolander does, and say, who am I? And discover that, because this is what the spiritual journey is, you know, rediscovering yourself at every given point of evolving and growing and expanding. It's expansive, this whole process. And with expansion comes almost room to meet that new version of yourself and say, okay, who am I now? Going through 2020, going through what I've gone, who am I now? It's an opportunity to meet an even more aligned, beautiful version of yourself where you're happier, where you feel fun. And you know, this is what I mean, you have the choice. So you choose who you meet, what version of yourself. Are you going to up level? Are you going to expand? Or are you going to stay stuck where you were? Because it's not really an option in 2020. We've kind of just been like pushed. There's not really much room for you probably to go back. But we always have free will as humans. Although we're souls having humans experience, we always have free will. So it's about using that energy and saying, what have I learned this year? What have I learned this year, and what do I definitely not want to repeat? What do I not want to do in 2021? And this new version of myself who has gone through this journey, has spiritually awakened, has healed that trauma, who has walked away from whatever, who is that version of myself and what do they deserve? So it's again saying, you know, like this version of myself now, how do they feel? What do they deserve? Like, what are they worthy of? And ask yourself these questions of like, 'cause you might feel like, yeah, this version of me is like really worthy of love, or this version of me is really worthy of abundance, or whatever it is. And you can work with that and say, okay, so if I feel that, if I know that this new version of myself is like up leveled and is like, yes, and I'm ready to like walk into this new chapter of my life, what do I deserve and what am I not going to tolerate? What are your non-negotiables? What is it you want? And explore that. Go out into the field and explore that, because you're not going to know any other way than getting out. And obviously if you're in lockdown, then I mean that in terms of like energetically putting yourself out there, maybe not physically going out into the field, although fields are social distancing, so you'd be fine with a field, but get out as in whatever way you can, and explore this new version of yourself, and make sure you are looking after this new version of yourself. And whether you've moved on from a situation, you've up leveled, you've healed, you've removed trauma, you've done deep inner work, whatever it is, like you have to continually meet yourself where you're at. So you can't just revert back to how you were before. Like you've got to walk your talk. You've got to say, right, come on, I've got this new opportunity, this new version of myself. I'm not gonna repeat the same mistakes or do the same things or whatever it is. So you have to walk that talk. You have to, and this is why that self-love and self-care and self-worth are so important in that cultivation of that new version of you, because again, you're gonna have that soul shock. I definitely had soul shock of like, whoa, here we are, hello, who is this version of myself? And that's exciting, but you have to love and nurture that new version of yourself as well as you discover them. And it's almost like a flower. The way I want to describe it is like a flower blossoming, a rose, if you want to say, like, you know, when the rose opens, it doesn't just go like, it's, you know, it's a gradual process of it like slowly turns and it kind of expands, and you know, it's a very gradual, soft process of unveiling in time, and so you can truly appreciate the beauty. It's not just a flower that just goes bloom. It is, you know, a very gradual process where that rose, where that bud is tight. And that's how you probably feel of like the rosebud is tight right now, where you're like, who am I? What's happening? Oh my God, what is this version of me? But as you allow yourself to soften, as you allow yourself to receive, as you allow yourself to discover all of this, that rosebud, that flower is going to expand and evolve and show you the full rose, the full flower. So use that analogy felt like a good analogy to use, and it makes sense to me, so I hope it makes sense to you as well. Of it is a continuous process. You are going to meet new versions of yourself every year. We are cyclic beings. That death, birth and rebirth cycle happens. It happens, and we are like phoenix. And that death, birth and rebirth cycle, you know, it's going to happen throughout our lives, throughout our spiritual journeys, maybe in bigger ways, maybe in smaller ways. Like, you know, it's that ebbing and flowing, that feminine energy of flowing with the rhythm of life, and, you know, realizing that every opportunity is an exciting opportunity to rediscover you, to come home to you. And that's what it is. It's coming home to you, the true essence of you, that aligned, up-leveled, true version of you. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a massive positive. And the way that you get to explore that is down to you. Is down to you taking action, cultivating and nurturing yourself, and having fun of like I said, looking at your manifestations. Do they still align with you? If not, up level them. As you up level, things up level in your life, and you don't necessarily vibrate or resonate with the things that you did at that previous level, whether that's friendships, whether that's relationships, whether that's manifestations and what you want in life, whether that's your purpose, whether that's your job, whether that's a house. Like, there's so many different things, and as we up level and move and shift, those things are going to, you know, change and up level and shift with us. If, you know, things are meant to be in our lives, they will. If they won't, they fall away. And there's nothing, you know, that's part of that death cycle, which can feel scary, can feel, and it's like, oh my God, like I'm changing again. And, you know, I get it. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. And if you're at your spiritual journey, then, you know, I'm sure people in the comments will be telling you like, yeah, this definitely happens. And it's not something to fear. It's not something that you should fear at all. It is the natural process of life. It is how the trees let go of the leaves each year and trust that come spring, those leaves are going to come back, and the tree doesn't hold on and grasp and say, no, I'm going to keep myself small. The tree's like, I let go. So yeah, it's really tuning into like the nature side of this analogy as well, of how nature works and how the world around us is part of that process. And we can probably piece back, you know, looking back through our lives and say, yes, I can definitely see those cycles happening. And, you know, the universe never leaves us without. The universe always transforms. It never leaves us without. It merely transforms anything that it takes away, or takes away as such, because really, you know, is it being taken away? But that's a whole nother conversation. I hope this video has helped and given you some reassurance of maybe why you're feeling that question of, who am I without this thing or trauma or whatever it is? Who am I? You know, we ask ourselves that, and whether you're going through a Saturn return, whether you're not, whether it's just the theme of 2020 for you and so much change has happened and you're asking yourself that question, journal on it. Who am I? What are your qualities? What do you love about yourself? Who am I? Are you a creative person? Are you funny? Are you really good at cooking or really good at singing or whatever it is? Like, who are you? Journal on that and see where it takes you. And allow yourself to change and evolve as you need to. Allow yourself to ask for different things from the universe. Allow yourself to meet that new version of yourself, and allow yourself to, meet yourself where you're at this new level, this new opportunity, and honor that. Nurture yourself, look after yourself, honor where you're at, because where you're at is exactly where you're meant to be. And that rediscovery of yourself is exciting, because without that trauma or healing, you know, who are you? You get to discover that now. You get to be the artist, the creator of your life, which is very special, I would say. Like, very special. So it's a positive. Use this journey as a positive, because it really is. It's a beautiful journey, and it's really, really positive. And just like the phoenix, as Kelly would say, it rises from the ashes and creates and cultivates beauty. Beauty, that's what it is. It creates and cultivates beauty. So as you go into this new year, with that new version of yourself, you can cultivate that beauty in your life and cultivate what it is you truly want, because that's what this opportunity is giving you. It's saying, okay, at this new level, at this new energy vibration that you're at, what do you want? And this is your opportunity to say what you want, to discover what you want, what sets your heart alight, what, you know, fills you with joy. What is it you want? And that's what this journey is asking you to delve into. So again, another journaling prompt for you guys there. You can go and work with that. But I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I say this every video, but I really do want to hear your thoughts on this, because for anybody who has, you know, been on this journey for a while or can resonate to this, like, I would love to hear your thoughts on this and the versions of yourself you meet. Is it every year? The notices and changes you've noticed. And if you could give anybody watching this video who's obviously at the beginning of their spiritual awakening any advice of what you've discovered, because obviously I've given mine, but what you've discovered, I think it would just be great to create a conversation around this for anybody watching who's like, great, well, this is great, Emma's saying it, but how does everyone else feel? So please do share your experiences of rediscovering yourself, and whether you've asked those questions maybe once, maybe 100 times along this journey of who am I, what am I doing, who is this new version of myself. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. I appreciate all your views and likes. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below, because I reply to them all. And you can also come on over to Facebook, the link is in the description, for you to come and join our free Law of Attraction support group over on Facebook, where you can join myself and the like-minded souls, where we talk all things law of attraction and spirituality. I hope you have a great week whatever you're up to, and I'll see you all in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love guys.